Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Twitch chat this fine morning,
Modern
afternoon.
2K. I'm
We're,
pretty excited.
we're starting off with a modern 2K. We've got Dan McDonald, commonly known as DMAC, playing 4Color, and Katie Clark on Grixis Death Shadow. So I'm just going to buzz them in and let them know they can start us off.
Hear us.
Just making sure you guys are able to hear us here.
Oh yeah, it looks like
yep.
we're good to go.
We're good to go.
I'm excited. I'm super excited to see Grixis Death Shadow.
Yeah, Grixis Death Shadow is really fun. If you look at, we can take a look at our lists here because we've got them right in front of us. We see Katie just instantly starting off with a fetch shock down to 17 life.
Wonder if they're gonna lead off with a Thoughtseize.
The
classic.
We might see her start off with the Thoughtseize. Yeah. So fun part about Katie's deck is she's professionally whiteboarded every single one of her cards.
What does professionally whiteboarded mean?
So she just whiteboarded them, like use painter's tape, everything, only hit the borders.
Wow.
Like they're very, very well done. And she's done them on every single one of her card, except for, I think it was her Underworld Breach, which she was running, but she decided to cut it. So we're actually going to see a non-whiteboarder spell pierce.
So
yeah, so we're only going to see one whiteboarder, non-whiteboarder card this match.
It looks like they took the Solitude.
There's also a DRC and Lightning Bolt that she hasn't got a chance to whiteboarder as well. So there's actually going to be three: the Spell Pierce, DRC, and Lightning Bolt.
So that's pretty cool.
And then DMAX deck is completely foil.
Oh, okay.
Except for four basic lands, I think, and their gurus.
Oh wow. So they're basically foil at that point.
Yeah, right.
Guru lands, they're basically foil.
Yeah, we're seeing some really cool decks on stream today where we've got a really great match to start us off.
Nice. So it looks like Darcy into another Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
This is a solid start from Katie.
Katie's got a really strong start, and I think DMAC actually mulliganed down to 6. So Katie's just tearing apart their hand.
Yeah.
We see DMAC grab a card and then decide, maybe this isn't the card I want today.
Planning it out, thinking, I'm assuming that Thoughtseize is on the stack?
Yeah, the Thoughtseize is on the stack. Katie has pretty good information about the hand in general.
Yeah.
That's why she removed the Solitude, so she doesn't lose her DRC. Because this DRC, depending on how this game goes, is going to be the thing that wins her the game.
Yeah, I was noticing that in a lot of games it was Darcy over even Ragavan or Death Shadow that really applied the pressure and allowed the Death Shadow to be like the killing blow later in the game.
Being able to look and get your value off the top card of your deck, off the DRC Surveil. We actually see DMAC bolt the DRC in response to the Surveil trigger.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So that's why he wanted to fetch then.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see the prismatic ending get removed, because as soon as Death Shadow start hitting the field, having one mana removal spell for like an 8/8, it feels real bad.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient too.
Yeah. So we had Fetch Shock, double Thoughtseize. That's a lot of life lost. Yeah. So Katie's already down to 12 life, where we have DMAC down to 17. That's an Oath of Nissa, so it's a really spicy tech, because all your lands tap for mana to cast planeswalkers, and I'm pretty sure creatures as well.
Oh, so they tap for any color now.
Yeah, it's basically equivalent of having a Dryad of the Elysian Grove in play.
But
you don't get an extra land. It's only 1 mana.
Oh, it's only 1 mana.
And you get to look at the top 4 and choose a creature or planeswalker and put them into your hand.
All right, I like that.
So we're seeing Katie cast an Expressive Iteration here. Expressive Iteration, also known as the bane of every format.
It just got banned in Legacy.
Yep, got banned in Legacy, was already banned in Pioneer. Man, that card is just a house.
Yeah, I love that card. It's a lot of fun to play, especially on Arena.
Yeah. So we're going to see Katie do the bobble trick, where she bobbles herself, then plays a fetch land.
Yep.
So it's effectively a scry. Well, it's a scry, but bad.
Yeah. But it's nice to have that option, right? Especially if you don't want to draw that top, because like right now that he's like slowing down, like setting up, there's no removal. We're just looking for a Death Shadow at this point.
Yeah,
really apply the pressure.
She's going really fast. She's going to try and get the Death Shadow in play as fast as possible.
I wonder if she runs Murktide. I've always wanted to see Murktide. I know most like what is it, Luris lists.
Well, Luris is banned in the format. So Luris has been banned for Luris got banned a couple probably about 6 months ago now. So Katie's not actually on not Ledger Shredder, Murktide, because most lists, if they run it, they're not running Underworld Breach. But she made the last minute decision to cut the Underworld Breach today because there was a problem with the card. We actually see her cast a Ledger Shredder here.
Ledger Shredder's been a house too. I love this card. Oh man,
this card was so slept on when it came out, and to just be able to purchase it and just have it do so much for you in a game of Magic,
especially one that like uses delve creatures or requires delirium.
Yeah,
like just the setup that you get and the card quality, it just sculpts your hand into something magnificent.
We see Katie dress down, draw a card off the dress down, we see Katie cast dress down, connive off the Ledger Shredder, then draw another card off the dress down because DMAC went cast Ice Fang Quaddle to try and draw a card. Now we see a card that a lot of people want banned in this format. It's a T3.
Yeah.
T3, especially right now with the new battles coming out, is going to be such a house if they start to see play, because you can't flip your battle.
Oh.
Because how battles read is when they get beat, they get exiled and then you cast.
Oh, so he just stops them entirely.
Yeah. We see the Ledger Shredder get bounced to hand, and we see Katie draw a Death Shadow. So this turn, if Katie wants, she can go Ledger Shredder, Death Shadow, connive into a DRC, because she also has a DRC in hand.
Oh, that's a fantastic hand.
Yeah, and it looks like a couple lands in there too. Yep, so we see the Death Shadow, the connive trigger. I wonder if she's going to discard a land here, or if she's trying to grow the Shredder to be able to be more of a problem to the Teferi.
Yeah.
Okay, we're actually just going to see her grow it. And then we're just going to see a fetch land. Are we going to do... Is there maybe a second Death Shadow in the hand? I can't see what that other card is.
No, you're right. That a Darcy.
Yep, but there was a DRC I saw because it was blackboarded. And DRC Bolts or Spell Pierce. So... And it looked like it was a red card, so... So we see that it looks like she is delirious. She's got artifact, sorcery, instant, enchantment, land. So she's actually got 5 in the yard right now. A creature, so she should have 6.
Perfect. So Darcy's online, going to be applying a lot of pressure. So it's really on Dan right now to find an answer for them.
Yeah.
He's got the Quaddle to hold him back for a turn, but 2 flyers.
2 flyers plus soon to be... What is...
A massive
it looks like a
Shadow.
6/6 Death Shadow right now.
Yeah, so that Quaddle's probably blocking the Death Shadow. Now, I wonder if she goes straight for his life total or applies pressure on the Teferi here.
If I'm in Katie's seat right now, I'm probably putting my DRC and my Shredder at the Teferi, and the Death Shadow's just going to go face. Because if she doesn't attack face here, there's a chance she won't have lethal on the following turn.
Yeah.
But if she attacks face and DMAC has a removal spell for one of her creatures attacking the Teferi, DMAC's able to block, kill the other creature, keep the Teferi alive, but his life total has been pressured. So he's going to drop down to 11 life if Katie gets in with the Death Shadow.
Yeah, but that's a Quaddle, right? So he can block the Death Shadow pretty effectively. It has Death Touch?
Only if you have 3 or more snowlands.
Oh, okay.
Which there's
so he's just using it as like a chump block into drawing a card.
Yeah,
it's like a cycle chump blocker.
It's basically just... Yeah, so we're actually going to see Katie make the play that I just talked about.
Yep.
Where she sends 2 at the Teferi and the Death Shadow at DMAC. You need to remember, Katie can't cast anything at instant speed right now because of the T3 in play.
Yep.
So getting this T3 off the battlefield is really big for Katie because she's got like lightning bolts, terminates,
Unholy Heat, I'm assuming.
Yep, we saw an Unholy Heat get discarded earlier. Like we've got a Drown in the Lock, which is effectively a counter spell.
Yeah. Oh, I love that card, especially now. Like his graveyard's getting a lot more full. It can counter most things in his deck.
So we're also seeing the play I talked about, where DMAC blocks the Ledger Shredder, kills the DRC, Teferi stays around, DMAC takes 6, and goes to 11. So Katie has the chance to just kill DMAC on the next turn if she can draw another creature.
Looks like a Death Shadow.
We
off
see
the
a
top.
second
That's
Death Shadow.
Good one.
So here we might see if she has like a zero cast spell or Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is really good
I thought
here.
she's into a Death Shadow. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So all of Katie's Death Shadows will be 8 power. Plus she's then going to connive off the Ledger Shredder to sculpt that last couple cards she has in her hand. So it's going to be interesting to see what DMAC does in response. Gonna Prismatic End in the Death Shadow because it has it's able to be cast as an instant.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of pressure off, but she gets to refill, and he's got no hand now. Dan's got no hand, so he's at the mercy of a top deck with 2 massive threats in play. Like, he's got to find something now.
Well, it's not lethal.
It's not lethal, but
if Katie chose to discard the non-land I think she has in hand, it would have been lethal. But instead, I think she's trying to set up to double spell next turn into lethal, which is also pretty good. But at the same time, I know that if this 4-color deck gets cooking,
yeah, because it's looking
it's
for
scary.
Omnath, right?
So we actually see in DMAC's hand, he has an Eladomri's Call. So he can Eladomri's Call for an Ice Vein Quaddle here and not lose. But if she didn't have the pressure to apply onto DMAC's life total, DMAC's able to get Omnath, next turn rips a fetch land, goes Omnath, gain 4 life, draw a card, like all these fun stuff that DMAC is able to do if he's just at the liberty of doing so.
Yeah.
Big thing right now is Katie still cannot remove cast spells at instant speed. If I'm Katie here, I am scared of this Teferi because that's double drown in the lock in her hand. So,
which are effectively useless at the moment.
Yeah, so we're gonna see her buy her Elk, and then we're probably gonna see Teferi bounce the Death Shadow because DMAC took 2 off the Shredder, down to 9, and we don't know what's in DMAC's hand here. It looks like it could be an Endurance from the way he's tapping his mana. No, it's a Seasoned Pyromancer.
That's a great card.
That is a huge tempo swing. Because DMAC just went from 0 cards in hand to 2, plus can put Death Shadow back in the hand.
Yeah, it really helps him stabilize, gives him some chump blockers, because like he's just trying to extend his life for as long as possible. Because the longer this game goes now, the better chance he has at winning.
So in one turn,
We'll be back in a second.
DMAC played 2 lands in a turn and fetched. So we'll be right. We're just sending a judge there.
Yeah, get this situated.
Yeah, DMAC had missed a land drop, and then
you hear the player chat. He's like, "Yeah, I just tried to cheat
by accident."
Yeah,
DMAC had missed a land drop before, and attempt to play 2 lands. Which is a big no-no in competitive Magic, of course, because it's cheating. But he obviously didn't do it on purpose. But luckily we caught it before it was an irreparable game state.
Yep.
And we couldn't move for any.
So I'm assuming he'll, because he lifted up his deck, he might just get like a little warning, shuffle his library, and then because he does have a fetch.
Yeah. So he's gonna get a games rule violation.
Yep.
And then just gonna be a quick randomization.
All right.
Quick randomization of the deck, and then look, we're all good. It's all fixed. Yeah, and now we see
drown onto the Pyromancer.
Yeah.
Get rid of the blockers.
That's a connive. We might see DMAC drop down to 6 this turn. Discard the Elk. So we're gonna see DMAC take 3 down to 6.
You hear one of the players yell "Bolt." They're just praying.
They might actually be lower than we think they are. Because we don't have perfect information. We're trying our best to get the the life totals here as perfect as we can. But if DMAC's able to slam an Omnath, which it looks like he's about to do, if there is no bolt in response, this Omnath is gonna win DMAC the game.
Yeah, now he has that second land that we know about. Things are about to get pretty dangerous here now.
Yeah, they're looking pretty scary. If I'm in KD's seat, I am stressing.
Yeah, I'm freaking out now too. Now, thankfully, the Teferi's gone, and we do know about the drown in the lock, so she does have an answer.
KD just conceded because the way it ends up working is Omnath's second or third ability deals 4 damage to each opponent and each of their opponent's creatures.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
pretty
already
sure.
been dealing so much damage to herself.
And that's just.
So on his turn, he fetches. She takes 4, and then on upkeep uses his next fetch.
Well, on upkeep he gets to gain 4 because the way Omnath works is it has 4 ability. If it would let me load. So whenever a land ETBs, if it's the first one, you gain 4 life. The second one you add 4 mana, and the third one is deal 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker you don't control. So in that situation, I assume we had life totals wrong, and Katie was at 4.
Oh, okay, yeah, because then he goes, he plays his fetch, gains 4 fetches, and he already had the Wooded Foothills from the turn before, so he gets his 3 land drop triggers and is able to deal 4 with 5 mana.
Yeah. Has 5 mana up, able to cast another Omnath if really wanted. Probably didn't want to.
Man, I'm super impressed that Dan was able to pull that off too, because especially in the early game, Katie ripped apart his entire hand. He didn't have anything, and just through Teferi alone was kind of able to apply enough tempo.
That
land
Katie was
one
stuttering. It was the Eladami's Call into the Icefang Quaddle chump block, and to rip the Season Pyromancer, play land, Season Pyromancer. Out of those 4 cards he drew that turn, he drew an Omnath.
Yeah.
And that's all he needed.
Yeah, and we knew like he had the fetch lands to get immediate value the moment it hits.
I think if DMAC hadn't have played a land that turn before when he went to double fetch, but he had already played a land, so he couldn't play the second fetch land, that would have made it a little bit more iffy because the Omnath might not have been lethal the next turn.
Yeah, so it was almost. Well, it's a good thing we got that, because like he almost ruined his own game through doing that.
Yeah, he could have lost the game just by doing that alone.
So I am curious to see what we got for sideboards here.
So sideboards here, we're 100% gonna see Katie bring in Torok because it is a house.
That's the one that makes him discard cards, right?
it's a hymn to Torok for 4 mana, and anytime your opponent discards a card, Torok grows. Gets a +1/+1 counter. We might also see. We're gonna probably see more dress downs be brought in because of those pitch elementals.
Yep.
I kind of like Unmoored Ego here.
Unmoored Ego. Now that would actually, because
it removes Omnath.
Yeah, and that's like her only threat.
That's her biggest threat.
Yeah, her biggest threat.
You can Unmoored Ego, get rid of 3 fairy and Omnath. Like,
and there's not
we see 2 in her board. So if I'm in Katie's seat here, I'm bringing in Dress Downs, I'm bringing in Torok, and I'm probably bringing in Unmoored Ego. Those are probably the cards I'm bringing in. You never want to over sideboard.
Now, something I see here from Dan's side is Chalice of the Void, and from when I was running Death Shadow, Chalice really hurts
a house.
Because all of your main creatures, like a lot of your threats, they're all 1s, right? So does she have anything to deal with a Chalice of the Void?
A Spell Pierce, but no card main board.
So
not even sideboard. Engineered explosives, but there's no way she knows that there is a Chalice of the Void.
Is this like not a standard sideboard piece in this deck?
So 4Color's kind of just been gaining a lot of popularity again. Okay. It was very unpopular after.
That's funny.
So what we're seeing here is like again, sorry, before we were interrupted by a question from the players, we were talking about how 4Color isn't as popular anymore.
Yeah.
So after the big Yorion ban, everyone said this deck's unplayable. I don't want to play this anymore. But the deck is still quite good.
It looks like it's got some legs.
It also got the fun new addition of Elishnorn.
Oh, so he is running one of the new Elishnorns, and Well, what does that card stop? I don't know if it stops anything.
It stops
in Death
nothing
Shadow.
in KD's deck,
Yeah.
but it makes the where is it? The Furies better, the Omnats better, the Solitudes better. Endurance doesn't super matter.
Those are all ETBs. Wow,
yeah,
that's
Seasoned Pyromancer better.
that is dangerous.
Leyline Binding targets 2 creatures
So
now.
he's actually using it for himself. He doesn't really care about it.
It's a card that you can play in a deck, and even if your opponent has nothing that would make it good, it's good.
So, and it also helps out with Omnath.
It's also a 4/7. It can't be heated. Unholy Heat with Delirium deals 6.
Yeah, so, yeah. Ooh, if he lands one of those, yeah, KD's
going to be in a lot of trouble.
It looks like she's going to be a lot. Even if he just lands one Chalice, like her sideboard isn't really ready to take on that card.
She would need to have not sideboard out the Spell Pierce, and looking at her list,
maybe she puts in like what,
Drown in the Lock. That would be the way to stop it.
Yeah, she'd have to counter it with Drown or another Spell Pierce if she wants to sideboard those in. But I think you're right. She probably wants a Hymn to Turok and maybe 1 or 2 Unmoored Egos.
And Dress Downs. Yeah.
You don't want to take out too many cards either, right?
Yeah, you don't want to over sideboard is the hardest part about being a Death Shadow player. Is because, trust me, as someone who has played it pretty recently, you always want to over sideboard.
You always want to over sideboard.
And
fair.
That's just something when it comes to being a Death Shadow player, is you're always going to want to put all your good cards in the deck. But the problem is, all your cards are good.
Yeah.
So,
it was like Affinity too, or Dredge. Dredge was a super hard deck to sideboard for.
Dredge was one of those ones where it's like, you could add a lot of cards, or you could not add a lot of cards, and your deck still be fine. Yep. You just had to worry about those Leyline of the Voids.
So looks like we got a Fetch Shock, Blood Crypt.
I see a Ragavan in KD's hand.
So does she hold the Ragavan to dash it next turn, because he might not have a creature? Or do you think turn 1 and just...
I'm a big fan of, if you got the monkey turn 1, play the monkey.
Play the monkey turn 1. And I know his deck, like, what? His one card, like, the
he has Prismatic Endings.
Yeah, Prismatic Ending, Ice Fang Quado.
One Leyline Binded.
Looks like he said he's going to bolt it. Yeah, deal with it right away.
Yeah, you have to kill the monkey instantly.
And that's why I'm on the fence about playing it turn 1, right? Like, maybe turn 1... you play something else that he feels obligated to bolt, and then...
Well, you could always have the second monkey, so playing it the turn 1's the bait for the second monkey.
Yeah.
Because if KD had second monkey here, she's...
Oh, I do like a Thoughtseize into a second monkey.
She would have been able to second monkey into a Thoughtseize.
Yep.
So if I'm KD here, the choice is 100% this Renin 6.
Alright, so we got Renin 6, Prismatic Ending, Quaddle, Endurance. This is a pretty good hand.
KD being able to rip it apart is ideal, but we also see that KD just passed the turn, so she really needed that monkey.
Drop. Yeah, she was really banking on it surviving.
Yeah. Now we might see DMAC just kind of take away with this, like run away with this game. Oh, that was
lucky.
That was pretty. If you had a turn to draw it, it had to be the third
it had to be now, or you're just going to fall way too far behind.
Yeah, because you're going to see DMAC on his next turn, if KD isn't doing a lot, Endurance, I think.
Yeah, and it looks like she's just passing, so maybe a Drown in the Lock?
Yeah, she might be holding Drown in the Lock, a Terminate in case a creature comes down. Like, there's a lot of things you can see get put into play here, which just... can win you the game.
Mm-hmm.
Not win you the game, but
apply like a tempo swing that's just gonna snowball into one
amount of pressure. Yeah, there's so much that KD's able to do in this position to still threaten DMAC, and there's so much DMAC's able to do to just take away this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if DMAC just top-decked ripped a Teferi, but we see what's probably going to be a bluffed Endurance, and we're going to see an Endurance on the end step, get rid of your Delirious Graveyard, and then start a beating.
Yeah, because he's not too afraid of Death Shadow. We know he has a prismatic
Yeah.
ending, so the first Death Shadow that enters is going to be dealt with, and by that time he could have drawn another answer for any of our other cards too.
Exactly.
And at any point in time, Omnath lurking.
Yeah, we're getting to that pivotal 4 mana for DMAC where he just there's an Omnath.
Yeah, so it looks like an expressive off the top, which is really good. Yeah, I'd want that too. You really need to hit those land drops.
We're just seeing an endurance just to get rid of those cards on the bottom. If I'm DMAC here, there's the situation where I target myself just so I can never be drowned.
And I was wondering that same thing, knowing that she has drowned, but maybe he's like, oh well, he's not too concerned about it and can fight through it.
Yeah, it's tough because DMAC has 4 cards in his graveyard, so he has to be very worried about KD just drowning an Omnath on the stack. We're seeing a DRC, which DMAC's not worried about because he just ripped away the graveyard.
Yeah, and I was going to say another reason why he might.
We saw DMAC just draw an Omnath.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Slams to Fairy. Yeah, get rid of that. Yep. Oh, she's in trouble now.
Yeah, that's a rough one. KD's gonna drop down to 8 life.
Yeah,
if we have our life correct here in the booth.
That's a huge tempo swing because now we know that the Omnath is coming next turn. Like, whew.
That's a terminate.
Okay, terminate
with the surveil trigger with the DRC. So we see sorcery in the graveyard, which is not what KD wants to see.
Terminate's instant, is it not?
Terminate is an instant.
Yeah,
so we see
sorcery and instant, but it's basically a sorcery now that 3 Fairies on the battlefield.
Yeah, if DMAC has another land here, DMAC's able to go slam Omnath, draw a card, but it looks like he's just gonna Ice Fang Quaddle.
Yeah,
phase.
I think what he's trying to do is maybe find a fetch land so that the moment he slams the Omnath, he's just gonna get a trigger immediately.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when Omnath hits the battlefield, you can't respond until the next point of priority.
Yep. Well, it looks like he drew a Ren in 6, so Ren, yeah. Double spell, Ren gets rid of the Darcy.
Yeah. And then the next turn, we're gonna see Omnath tick up, grab fetch land. Well, tick up, grab fetch land, Omnath. Like,
oh yeah, the writing's on the wall.
The writing is if we had an advantage bar, it's in DMAX. It's almost fully DMAC right now.
Yep. This Omnath deck is awesome.
Yeah, this 4-color deck is really sweet. So he's actually borrowing it from his friend TJ.
Okay.
So it's TJ's deck. DMAC borrows it. And it is a house in these modern tournaments.
It seems pretty good.
You just play all the good cards.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like Commander. So I play Nagila where it's like 5-color good stuff. And this is just 4-color good stuff.
Yeah, but 4-ofs.
Yeah.
So it's even more fun because every once in a while you just gotta go, oh, I've already solituded you once, get it again.
Solitude you again. Guess what? There's more.
Or it's like, you remove my Omnath, put it in exile, well, I have a second one or a third one. Like, whereas Commander, it's always like, I only got one.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any sideboard cards from any of the players, so like he doesn't even need a Chalice at this point.
Yeah, it just looks so painful for Katie here.
Yeah, really falling behind. Like, she has to deal with 2 Planeswalkers, and we know about the Omnath in hand.
She's casting a Dress Down
just to draw,
and it's just not good.
No,
it's just a Ragavan.
Oh. I've never seen a more sad Ragavan.
The Ragavan's just good.
He's gonna die. Like, he doesn't even remove it.
He doesn't care. He actually just drew a Fury, so he might just cast the Fury.
Yep, grab a fetch.
Just pick up the fetch. Probably just slam an Omnath.
Yeah, Omnath into fetch, and that will just about do it.
We're seeing this game about to be wrapped up. If we're seeing things correctly, at least. Both games, pardon me, we've seen that it is 3 Fairy that has taken over these games and just ripped them out of any chance that Katie had. So the people in commentary today is, my name's Jared, and I'm with my friend here, Jory.
Yeah, hi guys. They're trying to guess who we are.
Sometimes we mix it up, so we've had a few different people on commentary. We're actually just gonna see DMAX slam the Omnath.
Yeah, slam an Omnath into fetch with the Misty. Doesn't really matter what he what he draws or slams onto the battlefield. Like, the writing's on the wall, and I think Katie knows this too. And you're right, Teferi, both games, just like buying him enough time, getting like rid of all of her threats, drawing a card, slowing down any of her instant speed removal spells, being forced to play on her turn, and missing that land drop, like that crucial turn 2 land drop.
Yeah, and because he goes Omnath first, we just see the hand extension. We see DMAC take this very convincingly in 2 games. Well carried on the back of Teferi. Well played by Katie, but just from the start, it was an uphill battle, especially game 2 when she missed her second land drop. Yeah,
that just puts you so far behind, and especially at a deck that's so good at generating value. Like, every card he plays is almost like a card advantage card, right? Because you have Quaddle, which is...
draw a card.
Yeah, draw a card. You have Teferi, draw a card. Like
Renin 6. Put a land back in my hand.
Draw a card. Right? Like, so if you miss one drop, like one land drop, you just fall so far behind when every card in your opponent's deck is drawing you a card.
Yeah, we see that Katie actually put in Mana Leak, which we didn't expect her to put in.
Okay. I think Mana Leak's a pretty good card, though, right? Because it hits most, like, everything in his deck. And Omnath is probably what Omnath and Teferi are probably what she's worried about the most.
Yeah, I wonder if we actually saw her bring in Unmoored Ego.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, too. Because... man, Unmoored Ego naming 3 Fury and then Omnath afterwards.
Yeah, it's so bonkers. We do see the Torok, but it looks like just brought in double Terminate and chose not to bring in the Unmoored Ego.
Yeah, just deal with the threats as they came in. Make sure he has no blockers and just kind of pressure planeswalkers with your creatures. Yeah, I like that plan too. It's just, it was tough because, oh man, we saw his opening hand after that Thoughtseizes, and it was... bonkers.